Welcome to another episode of Last Week's Comics Today. I'm not sure if this is going to be a shorter video than usual or extra rambly. Not really sure where my head's at. But we're going to start this week with Conan the Barbarian. This is issue 18. This is the end of a 2-issue arc, and it was ultimately not that good. I, unfortunately, am already signed up for issue 19. It is drawn by Doug Braithwaite, and I'm really not a fan of Doug Braithwaite's art, so I'm already getting something that I know I'm not going to enjoy. But here's where I'm at with Conan, and it took me until now to really realize this, but I'm in the same boat now that I was years ago with the Brian Wood Dark Horse Conan series, which is, it started great, and there's some peaks throughout the series, but ultimately I'm not enjoying it. Yeah, end result, I'm just not enjoying it as much as I would like. I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to, and so I keep hoping that the next arc is going to be good, and sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I don't believe the next 2 issues are going to be good, and after those 2 Braithwaite issues, there will be another new artist, and it's all gearing up to this Serpent crossover thing that's happening. Free Comic Book Day is tied in somehow, and you know, summer Conan Solomon Kane event. I'm just not, my heart's not in it, and that sucks, and I should probably drop it. I don't know, that's where I'm at. So there's one more issue at least, and then we'll see what happens. But 17 and 18, not that good. Seasons issue 2, Seasons. Here's what I'll say about Seasons. There's this super weird thing happening with one of the sisters. I kind of miss that there isn't a sister introduction like there was in the first issue, but there's this like oversized ape and a tiny mirror, and there's this whole opening sequence is fantastic, and then we skip over to Spring again, this sister here, and she's entertaining, but so little happens. And we meet this is Winter, and Winter so far has not, Winter and which one's this? Summer? Winter and Summer. I'm so far don't really care about Summer or Winter as characters. Winter is dismissive, and Summer is kind of a ditz. Autumn, I think, is the only sister that I actually care about. She's kind of off doing weird, I was going to say Indiana Jones, but I think it's a bit more Umbrella Academy. Like, it's weird stuff going on. Also, weird stuff going on. But Spring here seems to be our main character, and just so little happens now in 2 issues, and they weave in, Remender successfully weaves in some background, and it's well executed, I will say. However, just again, so little happens. I just want some kind of hook, and I signed up for issue 3. I do this to myself, but I'm once again hoping it improves. Much like Conan, I'm always hopeful, and then I wind up spending more money, buying more issues than I should, even though it's really not something I'm interested in, which sucks. Issue 4 of FML, and here's the thing. So I was just going through the comic book website, and the rest of the series so far is not solicited, which I find strange, also unfortunate, because I would like more. I would like more of this immediately. This series is phenomenal. This is probably going to be Pick of the Week. It is really standout as far as just top to bottom. Art, story, writing, everything that's happening. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. But highly recommend as well. There's a lot of really, this has two lead characters. So there is Riley, who was turned into a monster at the end of the first issue, and his mother. Here there are different art styles depending on what is happening in, I will say, real life versus what is happening in people's heads, which is generally when things turn sketchy. There's some really great stuff as far as almost Azzarello level page turns, where and then it's my fault for asking. There's a point where they break the fourth wall and acknowledge that this is a comic. It's just fantastic. There's a lot of parental and child stuff in here too, which is what I was going for. So the mother and child, and like, look at this panel. That's phenomenal. But there's a lot of sort of teenage stuff happening with Riley, and then there's a lot of parental stuff happening with the mother. And so here she's getting a call from the police, and then this sequence happens. And it's that sort of... it's in that pocket of, like, parental anxiety and desire to protect your child that The Moon is Following Us has. And I'm speaking directly to Berg right now, because if you're not reading this, you really should try it. But more generally, to everyone, you should really be reading this. It's one of the best books that's currently coming out. It's phenomenal. Black Hammer, Spiral City, issue 4. I honestly, at this point, have no idea how many issues this series is supposed to be, because I thought I saw something within the last week that said it was a 7-issue series. I've seen, I think now, 7 through 9, so I really have no idea how many issues this series actually is. Not much happens this issue. There is, somebody gets the shit kicked out of him. Much like last issue, somebody got the shit kicked out of him, and I think next issue, somebody else is going to get the shit kicked out of him. Somebody else died this issue, and here we have Inspector Insector recovering from his ass-kicking last issue. It's sort of running in place this issue, but we get some progress on her specifically, and he's going off to do a thing. It's just, it feels like the middle of a series where things are in place and they're just ticking along slowly. It's still Black Hammer. I still enjoy it. It's just this issue in particular, not that much happens. Art's good though. Superman 23, maybe it is going to be a short week, because this is where I'm drawing the line. The next 2 issues of Superman are not drawn by Dan Mora, and Dan Mora was one of the draws for me reading this in the first place. But he's not drawing the next 2 issues. I think he's working on the Summer of Superman stuff, which I was kind of interested in until this, and now I'm just like, I think I'm done with this. But the writing is just not good. Lois basically has a Reed Richards problem of she is supposed to be smart, but she's written like an idiot. And Lex does something. That's a pretty good panel. I mean, art's still great, but the writing, I just don't care about anything that's happening. Lex bottles up the Armada from the last issue, and Superman still just punches things to deal with them. It's none of this is good, and I question how long Super Lois is going to be sticking around. I thought it wasn't going to be long, except there's a declaration of where is it? You have your first arch enemy. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this seems to be an indication to me that she's going to be sticking around for a while. So good? I don't know. I'm done with this, though. I'm done with this. Red Hulk #1, another issue where not much happens. And so I grabbed this. This is going to be an odd choice, and I was questioned at checkout why I was grabbing Red Hulk #1. The premise I thought was interesting. So it's One World Under Doom. It's, I think One World Under Doom is also an interesting premise. I would like to I would like for it to be good, and I don't care about any of the stuff that's currently being written. I just don't care. But this was Percy and Shaw, and I like Jeff Shaw, and this is the same creative team that was doing Sabretooth War last year, and there was, Berg praised that, so I'm like, all right, I'll try this and see, because basically, if you haven't read the solicitation text, Doom has collected miscellaneous characters and has formed this military kind of strategic policy planning think tank. He's captured various people and has put together this think tank, and they seem to be working through various scenarios, and that's an interesting premise, except again, very little actually happens this issue. So he shaves. There's a shaving sequence. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Machine Man is in this, if anyone cares about Machine Man. But there's too little, and even what is there is not enough to convince me to read another issue of this. I care so little about Marvel, and what I did care about DC is quickly evaporating. So, but that is what I got this week, and FML is definitely my pick of the week. Seasons, strangely, is second place. That doesn't make much sense to me. I did get a couple of things in the mail. Well, I guess I got one thing in the mail. Console Wars, I want to talk about this. I also finished reading A Ghost Arm Made of Angry Ghosts. I really want to talk about this. So I think I'm going to wind up doing a separate video and just talk about some Kickstarter stuff, because both of these warrant conversations. But not today. Not in this video. But FML, definitely pick of the week. It's head and shoulders above everything else that came out, everything else that I read. So, highly recommend that. I don't know when the back half of the series is going to come. Well, I don't know. I wish Dark Horse was more clear about what they were doing. Anyway. I got all of this from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thank you for watching.